In the great game of life, the mind is the master key that unlocks every door. Wealth, opportunity, and abundance included. The outer world is but a mirror of the inner one, and if you wish to change your finances, you must first change your thoughts. Poverty, like prosperity, begins in the imagination. When the mind is filled with thoughts of limitation, lack, and fear, it constructs invisible walls that keep success at bay. But when the mind learns the rhythm of abundance, when it aligns with divine supply, riches flow with ease and grace. For there is no struggle in spiritual law. Every thought is a seed, and every seed brings forth after its kind. A thought of scarcity can only bring forth more want. A thought of plenty calls forth prosperity. The universe does not question your worthiness. It simply reflects your vibration. To train your brain to make more money, you must first release the old patterns that whisper, "There is not enough." Replace them with a bold declaration. Infinite supply is mine now. The moment you believe it, unseen forces begin to move on your behalf. Doors open where walls once stood. People, opportunities, and ideas arrive as if by magic. But it is not magic, it is law. The mind must be trained as one trains a garden. You cannot allow weeds of worry to grow unchecked. Each day, you must cultivate faith, gratitude, and clear vision. See yourself surrounded by abundance. Feel the security of divine provision. Speak words that affirm wealth, for words are your wands. What you speak, you summon. To say, "I can't afford it," is to command lack. To say, "Money comes to me easily and often," is to set in motion a new current of supply. The trained mind knows that wealth is not achieved through strain, but through alignment with the higher law of circulation. The law that what you give freely returns multiplied. To make more money, you must first learn to think richly. A beggar mentality cannot sit on a throne. The universe answers to confidence, not complaint. Act as if prosperity were already yours, and it will rush to meet you. Pay your bills with joy, bless every dollar that passes through your hands, and know that more is on its way. The fearful mind says, "I must hold tight." But the wise mind knows that holding tight stops the flow. The open hand receives. The open mind creates. When you train your brain to think in terms of abundance, you are not merely attracting money. You are awakening to the truth that wealth is your natural state. You are one with infinite supply, and the substance of the universe is eager to express itself through you. Begin today by choosing your thoughts as carefully as a sculptor chooses his tools, for your mind is the workshop of riches, and your belief is the blueprint of your fortune. Thought is the seed of wealth, and within every thought lies the potential to shape your destiny. The mind is the soil of creation, and whatever is planted there, whether faith or fear, abundance or lack, will take root and grow. Most people look to the world around them and believe their circumstances control their success, yet the truth is reversed. Circumstances are only reflections of inward thought. Every fortune ever built began first as an idea, a vision held firmly in the unseen realm of imagination. To understand this is to realize that wealth is not first made in the bank, but in the mind. When you train yourself to think in terms of prosperity, you begin to move in harmony with a higher vibration, the frequency of abundance itself. A person who holds thoughts of success becomes magnetic to success, just as one who dwells in thoughts of scarcity attracts continued struggle. The universe is impartial, it simply mirrors what you continually impress upon it. Your dominant mental pictures, charged with feeling, act as blueprints for your future. The mind is a silent architect, constantly constructing realities from the material of your thoughts. If you wish to change your financial life, you must first change the structure of your thinking. The untrained mind wanders into fear, worry, and doubt. It rehearses limitation as if it were truth, saying things like, "There's never enough money," or "It's hard to get ahead." Each of these thoughts sends out a command to the subconscious, which obediently shapes conditions to match that belief. The subconscious mind does not reason, it simply accepts what you tell it. It is the fertile ground where every word is a seed. When you think or speak of lack, You plant seeds that must yield after their kind. But if you speak of abundance, of opportunity, of divine supply, you sow the beginnings of prosperity. Thought is not a passive mist floating in the mind. It is energy, alive and powerful, clothed with emotion and intention. Each thought radiates outward, joining with similar vibrations and forming a magnetic field that draws to you its equivalent. When you think wealth, you do not merely wish for money. You align yourself with the creative law that produces it. You cannot attract what you mentally reject. Many people desire riches, but secretly harbor resentment toward those who possess them. This inner conflict blocks the flow of supply, for you cannot receive that which you inwardly condemn. The mind must be at peace with wealth to attract it. Every great fortune begins as a definite thought, a seed idea, often small and simple, nurtured with conviction until it manifests. The farmer who plants an orchard does not question whether the fruit will appear. He knows that by natural law it must. So it is with thought. What you consistently hold in consciousness, you will inevitably bring into form. To train your mind for wealth, you must practice planting only the seeds you wish to harvest. Fill your mind with ideas of increase, of opportunity, of divine right supply. Affirm daily that prosperity flows to you and through you. Feel the truth of it, and your subconscious will accept it as law. When fear or doubt arise, and they will, treat them as weeds that must be pulled before they choke the garden. Do not dwell on them or give them life through attention. Replace them at once with statements of abundance. Say within yourself, I live in a rich universe. All that I need comes to me now. The repetition of such thoughts gradually retrains the subconscious, dissolving old patterns of limitation. Over time, this mental discipline creates a new vibration, one that resonates with plenty. Opportunities that once seemed hidden begin to appear. People who can assist you seem to cross your path by coincidence. Yet it is not coincidence. It is the working of mental law. You may look around and see others prospering while you struggle, and the untrained mind will say, they are lucky, or they had better chances. But luck is merely the visible result of invisible thought. Those who succeed have trained their minds, whether consciously or unconsciously, to expect good. They have sown seeds of success and tended them until they bore fruit. When you change your thinking, you step into that same current. The creative substance of the universe does not play favorites, it flows wherever belief directs it. To think wealth is not to grasp or crave money. For true wealth consciousness is not born of desperation, but of assurance. It is a calm knowing that supply is unlimited and always present. When you think from this state, your actions become inspired rather than forced. Ideas come easily, doors open naturally, and effort feels harmonious. The person who acts from a place of inner abundance becomes a channel for prosperity. They give generously, and giving increases the flow. For thought of abundance always multiplies itself. Every moment you are thinking, you are planting. Every word you speak is a command to your subconscious. Therefore, guard your thoughts as you would guard a treasure. Let no idea of lack linger in your mind. If a thought of limitation appears, transform it at once by affirming its opposite. The mind must be trained through repetition, for repetition is the language of the subconscious. You cannot plant one seed of wealth and expect a harvest while watering weeds of fear the rest of the day. Consistency creates results. To make thought the seed of wealth, imagination must be guided by belief. Picture yourself surrounded by abundance. Imagine your life as you desire it, not as it appears now. The creative law does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. It simply acts upon the impression you give it. When your thoughts, emotions, and words are in agreement, manifestation follows as surely as dawn follows night. The mind is a magnet, and the quality of your thoughts determines what you draw. If you think of money as something difficult or scarce, you repel it. If you think of it as energy that flows easily, responding to purpose and confidence, it moves toward you. The key is not to think about money, but to think from a consciousness of plenty. Money is only one expression of wealth. The true source is the infinite intelligence that flows through you. When you think in alignment with that source, supply becomes natural and constant. Every day offers countless chances to practice wealth thinking. When you see something beautiful or abundant, bless it. When you pay for something, give thanks that you can. Gratitude amplifies thought, increasing the frequency of prosperity. A grateful mind cannot hold fear or resentment. It is open, receptive, and magnetic to more good. To think wealth is to live from the awareness that ideas are your greatest capital. Every invention, every business, every stream of income began first as a single idea. Do not dismiss your inspirations as idle daydreams. Treat them as divine seeds planted in your mind for a purpose. Write them down, nurture them with faith, and act upon them when guided. The universe rewards the mind that believes its ideas have value. In the invisible realm, thought is substance waiting to take form. Each time you think a prosperous thought, you build a structure in this unseen dimension, and in time, it condenses into physical experience. You are never without resources, for your mind holds the power to create them. Wealth is not something you chase. It is something you cultivate from within, through the steady discipline of thought. To master the art of thinking richly is to awaken to your creative power. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the designer of it. The thoughts you hold today become the experiences of tomorrow. Train your mind to dwell only on that which you wish to see made manifest. Thought is the first cause, the silent force that shapes your destiny. As you think, you become. As you sow in mind, so shall you reap in life. Speak abundance, not lack, for every word you utter is a decree that shapes the unseen substance of your life. Words are living vibrations that carry the power of creation. They go forth into the invisible and return bearing fruit of their kind. The universe listens not to idle wishes, but to the tone of conviction in your speech. What you continually affirm becomes your experience. For speech clothes thought and sound moves matter. When you speak words of plenty, you summon forces of increase. When you speak words of scarcity, you bind yourself to limitation. Every time you say, "I can't afford it," or "money is hard to get," you are planting seeds of lack. The subconscious mind, obedient and literal, accepts these statements as truth and begins shaping reality to match them. To reverse this, you must make your speech a channel for abundance. Declare instead, "I always have enough," or "Money flows to me easily and frequently." These words may feel strange at first, especially if your outer world seems contrary, but that is when they are most needed. Words are not meant to describe what is. They are meant to call forth what shall be. Speech is the bridge between thought and manifestation. It gives direction to the creative energy of the universe. Just as a captain steers his ship with the rudder, so do you steer your destiny with your tongue. Each statement of abundance is a course correction, guiding your life toward greater prosperity. Many speak without awareness, scattering words of doubt and fear, and then wonder why their affairs are chaotic. The wise learn to use words deliberately, knowing that each one carries weight in the realm of cause. To speak abundance is not to boast or to pretend, but to affirm the truth of divine supply. The universe is rich beyond measure, and all its resources are accessible to the mind that aligns with it. When you declare, "I live in a prosperous world," you are not inventing fantasy, you are acknowledging spiritual law. The law of supply states that for every demand, there is an equivalent provision. When you speak from faith, you activate that law. When you speak from fear, you deactivate it. The spoken word carries emotion, and emotion is the magnet that draws manifestation. Words charged with gratitude, joy, and expectancy carry a high vibration that harmonizes with abundance. Words spoken with worry or complaint lower your vibration and create resistance. Therefore, the tone in which you speak matters as much as the words themselves. Say every affirmation as though it were already fulfilled. Speak with the authority of one who knows the law is working even now. Throughout the day, listen to yourself. Notice how often you speak of what you lack or fear. Each time you catch yourself, stop and correct it. Turn, "I never have enough time," into everything unfolds in perfect timing. Turn, I'm always short of money, into my income constantly increases. This simple practice reshapes your mental atmosphere. For spoken words are like sculptor's tools that chip away at old patterns of limitation. Over time, your speech becomes a stream of prosperity consciousness, and your environment begins to reflect it. You cannot speak lack and expect wealth any more than you can sow thorns and expect roses. The mind believes what the tongue repeats. That is why affirmations are powerful. They educate the subconscious through repetition. Each positive statement plants a new pattern in consciousness. When you say, I am open to infinite abundance, often enough, your subconscious accepts it as fact, and opportunities arise that match the new belief. The outer world cannot help but rearrange itself around the vibration of your words. Many people speak abundance for a moment, and then contradict it with casual complaint. They affirm prosperity in the morning but tell a friend by afternoon, things are getting worse. This divided speech weakens the creative power of the word. The subconscious receives mixed signals and produces mixed results. To speak abundance effectively, you must maintain consistency. Let every word agree with your intention. Speak of success, joy, and plenty, and let your conversation be seasoned with gratitude. Gratitude is the golden tone of prosperous speech. When you say, thank you for the wealth that is mine, even before you see it, you align yourself with the energy of receiving. Gratitude affirms faith. It tells the universe that you trust its law. Complaining, on the other hand, is the language of disbelief. To complain is to rehearse lack and strengthen it. The moment you begin to praise instead of complain, the current of your affairs begins to shift. Praise opens the gates of supply because it aligns your vibration with joy, and joy is the natural atmosphere of abundance. Your words not only affect your own mind, but also influence those around you. When you speak abundance, you lift the vibration of your environment. You become a center of encouragement and expansion. People feel drawn to your energy because it carries assurance. Opportunities are attracted to cheerful expectancy, not to despair. The prosperous person speaks with confidence and calm, knowing that what they decree must eventually appear. Even the smallest phrases matter. Saying, I am blessed, I am guided, money flows easily, or, everything I need is on its way, builds a momentum of good. Speak these words aloud every morning, not mechanically, but with feeling. The vibration of your voice sends them into the atmosphere, where they begin to take form. The universe is vibrational, and sound is one of its purest carriers of intention. By speaking abundance, you literally tune yourself to the frequency of prosperity. If others around you speak negatively, do not argue or correct them. Simply choose different words for yourself. Hold fast to your own affirmations. You cannot change another's vibration, but you can maintain your own. In time, your steady frequency of abundance will either uplift their speech or gently move you into new circles of thought where prosperity is natural. To speak abundance is also to refuse to speak fear. Silence is often better than complaint. When you feel tempted to voice limitation, pause and breathe. Remember that words are power, and silence can preserve that power until you can speak constructively. The disciplined tongue is a sign of mastery. It speaks only when it intends to create. You can transform any situation by changing the language you use to describe it. Instead of saying, business is slow, say, business is reorganizing for greater growth. Instead of, I'm drowning in bills, say, my financial affairs are being divinely balanced. These words shift your mental focus from fear to faith. The outer conditions may not change instantly, but the inner vibration does, and that is where true change begins. Speak abundance also through blessing. When you see wealth in others, bless it. Say, that success blesses me too, for we are all part of the same supply. Envy separates, blessing unites. By blessing abundance wherever you see it, you increase your own share of it, because what you recognize as good for another you call forth for yourself. The habit of blessing multiplies good in your world. Every financial exchange is an opportunity to speak abundance. When you pay a bill, say, I rejoice that my money blesses others and returns to me multiplied. When you receive money, say, thank you, universe, for this evidence of supply. These words keep the circulation of prosperity open and flowing. Money, like all energy, must move to stay alive. Your words can either open or close the channel. Children, too, should be taught to speak abundance. The earlier one learns that words are power, the sooner one escapes the illusion of limitation. When they hear adults saying, we can't afford that, they absorb the belief in lack. Teach them instead to say, we're choosing wisely, or, the right opportunity will come. Thus you pass to them the consciousness of plenty instead of fear. To live in abundance, you must speak it naturally, as part of your daily rhythm. Let your morning begin with words of prosperity, and your night end with words of gratitude. Speak success before you see it, for speech plants the seed that vision waters. The law of life responds to declaration, not hesitation. When you speak abundance with unwavering faith, the creative substance of the universe hears and obeys, for every word is a command in the language of manifestation. Act as if prosperity is already yours, for faith without action is a shadow without substance. To act as if is to bring invisible belief into visible form, to walk in the rhythm of abundance, even before it appears in your outer world. The universe responds not to pleading or waiting, but to certainty. When you move with the confidence of one who already possesses, you align your vibration with the thing desired. The world mirrors back your conviction. The law of manifestation is not fulfilled by wishing. It is fulfilled by living as though the wish were already realized. Acting as if is not pretense or arrogance. It is quiet assurance that the supply you seek already exists in the unseen, and that your faith calls it forth. When you believe something deeply, your behavior naturally changes. You stand differently, speak differently, make choices differently. You no longer speak of lack, because in your consciousness there is no lack. You behave from the vibration of abundance, and abundance recognizes its own. The invisible substance of prosperity is drawn to those who move as if they already possess it, for action is the language of belief. To act as if prosperity is yours means to step out of the old habit of postponing joy until conditions change. Many say, when I have more money, I'll feel secure, or, when my business succeeds, I'll feel confident. Yet the law is reversed when you feel secure, when you act confident. The money and success appear. The outer always follows the inner. Waiting for conditions to prove your worthiness keeps prosperity at a distance. Acting as if calls it near. Every gesture, every decision can either affirm abundance or affirm lack. When you walk into a store, do you shrink at the sight of price tags, or do you remind yourself that divine supply is unlimited? When you receive a bill, do you tighten with fear or bless it as evidence of circulation? Acting as if prosperity is yours means responding to life from the consciousness of plenty, rather than the reaction of scarcity. It is not reckless spending, but wise assurance that you are supported by an infinite source. The person who acts from abundance chooses faith over fear in every small matter. They invest time in ideas rather than in worry. They treat their current surroundings as sacred, no matter how modest, keeping them beautiful and orderly as a reflection of inner prosperity. A cluttered environment speaks of confusion, a cared for space declares expectancy of good. When you prepare your life to receive wealth, when you organize, clear, beautify, and give thanks, you create room for greater increase. Acting as if is a form of preparation. A gardener clears the soil before planting, a musician tunes the instrument before playing. So too must you tune your life to the vibration of prosperity. Begin by living in gratitude for what you already have, no matter how small. Gratitude is the soil in which abundance grows. Each time you give thanks, you confirm your belief in supply, and your actions will naturally begin to mirror that belief. The mind trained in prosperity walks with dignity. It does not beg or chase, it attracts. It does not measure its worth by the visible balance in a bank, but by the invisible assurance of divine substance. Acting as if prosperity is already yours means treating yourself and others with generosity, for you know there is no shortage in the universe. Give compliments freely. Share time and kindness without counting. Generosity of spirit precedes generosity of circumstance. The open hand receives because it has already given. When you act from lack, you hold tightly to what little you have. You wait for proof before believing. But the universe gives to those who have. Not merely those who possess, but those who act as though they do. To have in consciousness is to claim your good. When you believe in your prosperity, your thoughts, words, and movements reflect that inner wealth. You no longer hesitate to pursue ideas or opportunities, because you know divine guidance goes before you. Doors open for the person who walks toward them with confidence. Acting as if prosperity is yours may begin with small symbolic actions. Perhaps you organize your finances with order and clarity, treating every dollar as sacred energy rather than as a problem to be solved. Perhaps you dress with care, not to impress, but to express your worthiness. Perhaps you take yourself to places that inspire success, surrounding yourself with beauty to remind your subconscious that you belong in the atmosphere of abundance. These acts are not vanity. They are alignment. The subconscious accepts outer behavior as evidence of belief, and it adjusts conditions accordingly. You might not yet own the home, the business, or the wealth you envision, but you can conduct yourself as the kind of person who does. The universe meets you at the level of your self-concept. If you see yourself as limited, life mirrors limitation. If you see yourself as prosperous, life mirrors prosperity. To act as if is to live from the higher image of yourself now, to embody the vibration of your fulfilled desire. This embodiment transforms your energy and magnetizes you to new possibilities. There is great creative power in expectation. When you expect good, you unconsciously move in harmony with it. You make decisions that support it. You attract people who resonate with it. Acting as if prosperity is yours strengthens expectation into certainty. You no longer hope that good might happen someday. You assume it is unfolding already. That assumption becomes your energetic signature, and life responds in kind. Acting as if does not mean ignoring present responsibilities or pretending that challenges do not exist. It means handling every challenge from the calm authority of one who knows it will resolve favorably. Instead of saying, "I don't know how I'll manage this," you say, "This too will prosper me." Instead of shrinking in the face of obstacles, you stand in the vibration of success and allow intuition to guide your next step. Prosperous action is always guided action, effortless, timely, and sure. You demonstrate belief by the way you carry yourself. The prosperous person walks with purpose, speaks with assurance, and radiates quiet confidence. They do not speak of delay or struggle, for they live in the consciousness that all things are unfolding in perfect order. Even in temporary lack, they do not panic, for they act from the invisible supply that never fails. Their calm becomes their power, for calmness is the atmosphere of faith. When you begin to act as if prosperity is yours, some around you may not understand. They may call it unrealistic or proud. But those who live by spiritual law know that appearance always follows belief. The outer world rearranges itself to match the conviction of the inner. If you maintain your posture of abundance, life will eventually prove you right. The key is persistence. Do not act prosperous for a day and despair the next. Consistency of vibration is what crystallizes substance into form. When you give, give as one who has. When you work, work as one who is richly rewarded. When you rest, rest as one who trusts divine timing. Every action becomes a statement to the universe of how you see yourself. Each moment offers a choice to act from faith or from fear. The person who continually chooses faith becomes a living magnet for prosperity. To act as if prosperity is yours is to live from the end. To embody the feeling of success before the evidence appears. Feel the ease of financial freedom now. Feel the joy of sharing your wealth. The gratitude of seeing your dreams fulfilled. Let those feelings direct your posture, your tone, your decisions. When you maintain that vibration, you send out a signal that cannot go unanswered, for the law of life is responsive. You cannot act abundant and remain poor in experience. The outer world must conform to the inner image, for it is only a reflection of what you have already claimed in consciousness. Circulate money with faith and joy, for money is energy, a living current that moves in rhythm with your consciousness. To circulate is to keep the flow of prosperity alive. The universe itself operates by this law of circulation. The tides rise and fall. The seasons come and go. The breath moves in and out. All life is motion. When you hold too tightly to money out of fear, you dam the river that would otherwise nourish you. When you release it with trust and gladness, you become part of the natural rhythm of increase. To give and to receive are not opposites, but the same movement seen from different points of view. The mind that hoards declares its belief in shortage. It says, "There may not be enough later," and that thought of lack cuts it off from the infinite supply that is always present. But the mind that gives with faith says, "The source is endless, and I am part of it." That thought keeps the channel open. The person who spends with joy instead of fear becomes a magnet for greater returns. What you send out in trust returns to you multiplied, because the law of circulation ensures that energy given in love always expands. Money is meant to move. When it stops moving, stagnation sets in, just as a river grows foul when its flow is blocked. Many people clutch their resources, believing that saving from fear ensures security, but real security lies in the awareness of infinite supply. There is nothing wrong with saving when it is done from wisdom, but saving from fear breeds poverty. The motive behind your action determines its outcome. When you hold money in fear, you vibrate at the level of loss. When you release it in faith, you vibrate at the level of abundance. The universe matches your vibration. Every exchange of money is an opportunity to affirm trust in divine supply. When you pay a bill, do not sigh or resent it, bless it instead. Say, "I rejoice that my money blesses others and returns to me multiplied." This transforms a moment of fear into a declaration of prosperity. Money becomes a servant of spiritual law when it is handled with consciousness. Every payment you make is a seed of faith planted in the soil of circulation. It must sprout in due season as increased supply. Circulating money with joy also dissolves guilt, for many hold hidden resentment toward wealth itself. They see money as something heavy, tainted, or corrupt, yet money is neutral. It takes on the character of the consciousness that handles it. In the hands of fear, it creates anxiety. In the hands of love, it becomes an instrument of good. When you give gladly, you cleanse your relationship with money. You no longer see it as master or enemy, but as a friend, eager to serve. Think of money as a messenger carrying your energy wherever it goes. When you spend in bitterness, you send bitterness into the world. When you spend with joy, you send blessing. The vibration you attach to money determines what returns. If you buy food with gratitude, that gratitude multiplies. If you give to charity with joy, that joy expands in your life. You can trace every act of giving as a circle that always returns to its starting point, for energy never dies. It merely changes form and direction. Faith is the current that keeps circulation smooth. Without faith, giving feels like loss. With faith, it feels like creation. When you release money with trust, you declare your oneness with the source of all supply. You say silently, "The same power that brought this to me will bring more." That affirmation releases invisible forces to work on your behalf. Opportunities begin to appear, new channels of income open, and unexpected help comes from places you could not have planned. The universe delights in filling the space made by your fearless giving. Joy is the magnet that accelerates return. Giving with heaviness slows the flow. Giving with delight multiplies it. Practice finding joy in every act of circulation. When you pay for a meal, give thanks that you could enjoy it. When you support a business, bless its success. When you share a gift, imagine your joy spreading through many hands. Each of these moments expands your prosperity consciousness, for joy is proof of faith. Do not confuse circulation with careless spending. To circulate money consciously is to give it direction with purpose and gratitude. It is wise to use discretion and intention. For money responds to attention. Mindless spending leaks energy, mindful circulation amplifies it. When you spend, know why you are spending. When you give, know what you are giving to. The clear, focused mind channels energy efficiently and keeps the flow pure. The miser's purse grows heavier and smaller with fear, but the generous hand never empties. Those who have learned the joy of giving discover that they can never truly outgive the universe. What leaves their hand in faith returns multiplied in surprising forms: peace of mind, loyal friends, new opportunities, and sometimes literal increase. Life cannot help but replenish what is given in harmony with its laws. Circulating money with faith trains the subconscious to believe in abundance. Each act of giving becomes a statement of confidence in divine order. Over time, this confidence becomes natural, and fear of lack dissolves. You stop worrying about how or when money will come, because you know it always comes at the right time. You trust the rhythm of supply. As you trust the rhythm of breath, you inhale and exhale without anxiety, knowing there is always more air. So it is with wealth. The joy of circulation can be practiced in every form of giving. Not only money, but time, service, praise, and encouragement. Each act strengthens the same law, for giving and receiving are two sides of one coin. When you encourage someone else's success, you open the door to your own. When you help another prosper, you move into alignment with prosperity itself. The energy you release always finds its way back to you. Those who fear giving often live under the illusion that supply is limited. They say, "I can't afford to give right now," not realizing that this very belief keeps them bound. To break the illusion, begin where you are. Give something. A smile, a kind word, a small donation. But give it with the consciousness of abundance. The act itself is less important than the spirit in which it is done. Every step toward joyful circulation expands the channel through which wealth flows. Money, like water, seeks open channels. When you bless what you have and send it forth willingly, you open the floodgates of increase. When you cling to it in fear, you narrow the stream until it dries up. You cannot outthink this law, but you can cooperate with it. The simplest way to do so is to let go with love. As you give, imagine that every dollar carries your blessing into the world, and that its return will find you multiplied. Even in moments when funds seem low, act from faith, not fear. Give something, however small, to keep the current moving. This action declares to the universe that you are not bound by appearances. The universe responds by matching your inner conviction with outer evidence. You prove to yourself that prosperity is not dependent on amount, but on consciousness. The flow is mental before it is material. Each time you circulate money with joy, you reinforce the truth that wealth is not hoarded. It is expressed. It passes through you, not away from you. You are not the owner but the steward of divine substance, entrusted with its movement. When you release it in faith, you fulfill your part in the cycle of abundance. The more willingly you participate, the more freely life flows through you. To give joyfully is to affirm that you live in an infinite universe, where there is always more to come. Align your mind with divine supply. For all true wealth flows from the invisible to the visible. There is no lack in divine substance, no withholding in the infinite mind from which all things come. Every atom, every opportunity, every form of success originates in the unseen realm of pure intelligence. When your thoughts are in harmony with that intelligence, you become a clear channel through which abundance expresses itself. The universe does not struggle to provide, it simply responds to alignment. Lack is never in supply but in consciousness. When you tune your mind to the higher frequency of divine provision, you enter into the flow where everything necessary for your good moves easily toward you. To align your mind is to adjust your inner vibration to the law of plenty. It means releasing fear and replacing it with faith in the eternal order that governs all creation. Just as a radio must be tuned to the right frequency to receive music, your mind must be tuned to the vibration of abundance to receive its manifestation. The music of prosperity is always playing, but you cannot hear it when your thoughts are clouded with doubt, envy, or limitation. Alignment is not achieved by effort but by recognition. Recognizing that supply is already present. That divine intelligence knows your need and fulfills it through perfect channels. The unaligned mind believes in separation. It thinks of itself as small, isolated, and struggling against circumstances. It looks at the outer world and sees competition and scarcity. But the aligned mind knows that all is one. It sees that the same intelligence that causes trees to grow and stars to shine also governs your affairs. When you know this deeply, fear of lack dissolves. You no longer beg or chase, you allow. You realize that you do not create supply. You connect with it. You do not have to make wealth happen. You simply let it flow through you by maintaining harmony with the source. Divine supply is infinite and impartial. It is not limited to certain people or professions. It flows wherever consciousness opens to receive it. When you align your mind, you stop asking, "How will I get money?" and start declaring, "I am one with the source of all money." This subtle shift changes everything. The moment you recognize your unity with supply, the struggle ends. You begin to attract ideas, people, and opportunities that correspond to your new vibration. The outer world reshapes itself around your inner certainty. Alignment begins with thought. The mind must be trained to think in terms of plenty, to reject ideas of lack as foreign intrusions. When a thought of limitation arises, replace it immediately with an affirmation of divine abundance. Say to yourself, "There is no lack in God's universe, and therefore there can be no lack in me." Repeat it until it feels true. Each repetition strengthens the bridge between your conscious mind and divine supply. The more you practice, the more naturally you think abundance. Eventually, it becomes your default state, and prosperity flows without strain. Faith is the foundation of alignment. Faith is not mere hope. It is knowing without seeing. It is the inner certainty that the unseen is as real as the seen. When you hold that certainty, you broadcast a vibration that calls forth matching conditions. Fear blocks the current, faith opens it. The moment you begin to believe that supply is endless and responsive, you align yourself with its flow. You feel a quiet confidence, an assurance that no matter what happens externally, the substance of good surrounds you. To live in alignment with divine supply, you must also align your feelings. Thought alone is not enough. Emotion is the energy that gives thought power. When you think of wealth but feel fear, the vibration is divided. You must feel the joy, gratitude, and security of abundance as though it were already present. Feel it until it becomes your natural state. The feeling of abundance magnetizes its form. The universe reads your emotional tone more clearly than your words. Gratitude is one of the quickest ways to enter alignment, for it shifts your focus from what is missing to what is given. Each moment of gratitude harmonizes you with the frequency of increase. Aligning your mind with divine supply also means trusting divine timing. The ego demands quick results. The spirit knows that everything unfolds in perfect order. Impatience is a sign of misalignment because it comes from disbelief in divine wisdom. When you trust the process, you relax. You stop forcing outcomes and start allowing them. The calm mind is the aligned mind. It knows that what belongs to it cannot be withheld, and that what has not yet appeared is simply preparing its perfect form. You align with supply by aligning your actions as well. Every choice you make either strengthens or weakens your connection to abundance. Actions born of fear, hoarding, complaining, doubting, disrupt the flow. Actions born of faith, generosity, gratitude, confident decision-making, amplify it. You demonstrate belief by how you handle what you have now. Use what is in your hands wisely and with appreciation, and more will be entrusted to you. The universe expands whatever you manage in harmony. To align your mind with divine supply, you must also align your words. Speech is thought made audible. It sends vibrations into the world that shape reality. Speak of prosperity as though it were already established. Avoid words of lack, for they reinforce misalignment. Each time you say, "I can't," or "I don't have," you declare separation from supply. Each time you say, "I can," or "I have," you declare unity with it. Make your conversation an instrument of creation, not destruction. Meditation deepens alignment. In silence, you touch the stillness where divine supply resides. Close your eyes and feel the presence of infinite abundance around and within you. Imagine it as light, as energy, as peace. Breathe it in until every cell of your body vibrates with sufficiency. This inner communion resets your vibration. When you open your eyes, you carry that peace into the outer world, and the world mirrors it back. The aligned mind does not chase money, it magnetizes it. It does not grasp or bargain, it allows and attracts. You are never meant to pursue wealth, as though it were separate from you. You are meant to realize that you and supply are one expression of the same life force. The river does not beg the ocean for water. It flows from it naturally. In the same way, your prosperity flows naturally from your alignment with the divine. Whenever you feel anxiety about money, pause and remind yourself of truth. There is only one source, and it is infinite. Feel your oneness with that source. Imagine yourself standing under an endless waterfall of supply that never ceases to pour. That image corrects the illusion of limitation and restores your alignment. You cannot fear and receive at the same time. Choose faith and let the current carry you. The more you practice alignment, the more effortless life becomes. You begin to notice synchronicities, unexpected payments, helpful people, perfect timing. These are signs that your vibration and the vibration of supply are matching. When you are in alignment, you live by grace instead of strain. Things unfold without struggle because you are no longer working against the current. You are moving with it. In this state, prosperity becomes a natural condition rather than a goal. You no longer worry about getting, because you are aware of the continuous flow of being. You see money, opportunities, and ideas as expressions of one divine energy manifesting in many forms. You stop separating spiritual life from material success. You understand that divine intelligence operates through both, and that by aligning your mind with it, you sanctify every aspect of your existence. Alignment is remembrance. It is remembering that the same power that spins galaxies also governs your affairs. It is remembering that you are not a beggar at the door of the universe, but an heir to its infinite riches. When you think, speak, feel, and act from that knowing, you live in a constant state of provision. The outer world becomes a reflection of your inner union with divine supply, and every need is met before it is spoken, for the law of abundance has already answered.